Welcome to P Passionate W World, R Radio N Network, LLC, a multimedia company. Ann Arbor, Michigan, Boston, Massachusetts, Liverpool, England, Melrose, Florida, Los Angeles, California, Fullerton, California, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Illinois are one of the many broadcast homes of PWRN, a multimedia company. The world in your hands. And now, without further ado, let me present to you one of our many hosts and their programs.
Good evening, one and all. This is flash-silvermoon speaking to you live from Melrose, Florida. This is What the Animals Tell Me. This is my program for the evening, and I really like to talk to the animals, and most importantly, to listen to them. This is a very, if you could use a little laugh right now, I think this particular story will give you that very thing. Like, for instance, the title of this program is, But I Don't Know Nothing About Birthing No Baby, because that's what I had to say under the circumstances. So here we go. One of the most profound experiences that I've had with an animal occurred some years ago while making a pit stop for some horse feed. This was to be a 5-minute errand on a trip that would bring my friend Julie to a woman who would introduce her to the owner of a tiger rescued downstate where she was seeking employment. This was not the place that I wound up working with much later. Okay. Julie spared no effort in picking the perfect attire for this interview. She was wearing a lovely pale pink shirt with matching slacks, and she agonized over not curling her hair as we were running out of time. I assured her that anyone who could work with tigers didn't need curled hair. Now that I have actually worked with tigers myself and know women who do that day after day, I know just how ridiculous hair prep could be, curls or no curls. Wearing pale pink, although attractive on Julie, was surely not a great plan for animal work either. As fate would have it, this tiger facility was definitely not going to be a good place for Julie, no matter how she did her hair, and so this part of our excursion was actually a blessing in disguise and made her trip to the Gainesville, Florida area much more positively memorable. Our detour would take us to the Bloom and Spot Appaloosa farm that belonged to a friend, Betsy Bloom, to pick up some sweet feed that she had gotten for me. Betsy, however, was off on another errand, and so her young son, Danny, helped us get the 3 bags of feed out of the barn and into my car. All was going pretty smoothly, as could be, until I noticed that a horse in the back pasture was lying strangely with her back leg up in the air. I brought this to Danny's attention, and fear flushed across his young face. "Oh, no, Flash, she's having her baby. You've got to do something. You're all she's got," he pleaded. Turns out this mare was now in full labor, and they had been waiting for days for this blessed event to occur. The father was a very famous Foundation Appaloosa stallion from the West Coast, and this was to be his last offspring as he was dying of cancer. Why isn't Betsy here, I thought. This is such an important foal. What am I going to do for her? Turned out, as life had gone on and I found out more about Betsy, she was really not such a good friend to me or her animals. This was a most critical time, but I could not resist saying, "Danny, I don't know nothing about birthing no baby." So just a little comic relief to hide my panic. That being said, Julie nimbly jumped over the fence while I more cautiously went around and through the gate. The poor mare was now trying to give birth standing up. We then discovered that part of the problem was because the foal was breech, being born backwards. If we didn't get with her and help assist the baby horse, she could fall out and break its neck, if she could even get out of the mother's uterus. This much we knew, but little else. Here was a scary case of the blind leading the blind, or rather, the mare goddess leading us all. Neither of us had ever dealt with anything like this before. I mean, we both had helped puppies and kittens being born, but nothing like a horse. So we had to follow our instincts and do the next right thing. Thankfully, Julie took the hind end, and I began working on the front, wrapping my arms around her sides while pressing my chest against hers to calm her. I started breathing with her, following her rhythm, and using my hands to push and massage her belly. Breathe in now, out, in, out. That's a girl. How I knew to do this was a mystery to me, and there was no time to think or examine my empty memory bank. There was something that just felt right about what I was doing, and the mare seemed to like it as well. The mare and I really got a smooth groove with our breathing together, and I gave her flower essences, the wonderful flower essences from the Green Hope Farm folks, which works so beautifully. And I gave her some of the Arbor Garden to calm her, and as amazing as it was working. In no time, flat, Julie, in her pristine pink outfit, was up to her shoulders inside the mare's vagina, gently and simultaneously pulling and turning the endangered foal. How she knew to turn the foal till the legs would come out simply amazed me, and I think she amazed herself as well. The silent coordination of my pushing and Julie's pulling and turning the foal seemed to be working perfectly as the newborn's body slowly emerged from the birth canal. At some point, I also gave the mare more flower essences to relax her weary body. Another fascinating part of this birth was that while we worked, a circle of maybe 15 mares had formed around us, perhaps guarding their sister or maybe even psychically communicating necessary mare wisdom to her ignorant but courageous rescuers. We were the ignorant ones. We could have become concerned for our own safety, but there was no time for that. It can be risky to be in a space with that many horses that you don't know and who don't know you either, but their presence felt so supportive and warm. And maybe this is how they support each other during birth times. I had nothing to compare this experience. This was all new to me. If we failed, both horses could lose their lives. This pushing and pulling seemed to be going on forever, and our muscles were getting pretty sore, but we would not and could not pause. Too much was at stake, and we knew it and kept up our rhythm and soothing words from mare and foal. Finally, the most beautiful, gangly, glistening Appaloosa filly slid out into Julie's waiting arms. Tears of joy ran down both of our cheeks, and we could finally breathe, too. By this time, Julie was totally covered in blood and physically exhausted from the ordeal, and I was pretty bloody, too, from the foal. Without discussion, I took over holding the foal, who had just gotten to her feet, and I let her lean against me for some time until her own legs and balance grew stronger. Funny, our entire process together has been done without conversation or discussion, as if we had done this work together forever, which was surely not the case. The great mare goddess spirit of the Appaloosa was with us, and we just listened and didn't even know we were listening. My heart was so full, I thought that it would burst wide open with joy and pride. We did it! We did it! We shrieked to Danny, ourselves and the universe. Mother and child were both alive. I stroked this precious filly's neck and sides, entranced with the softness of her newborn fur. You're so very beautiful, little one, I cooed in her ear with each stroke. I could feel her relax under my touch, and I was in ecstasy. I think we had all been waiting to finally exhale, and we shared these quiet moments to bask in our success while Danny clicked away on his camera. What a time. In a while, I gazed over at looking for cues from her that she was fine or not with our intervention. After all, this was an unknown horse in a difficult situation, but all I could feel from her serene countenance was extreme gratitude. I could swear that I heard a soft, "Thank you." Had we not shown up when we did, she would have died a long, painful death. Struggling to release her foal, who would have been trapped inside her. I mean, the whole experience just blew me away. Let me take a quick break, and I'll continue with much more information for you. Be right back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Robertson, host of TV Confidential. Thank you so much for listening to our program on PWRN, Passionate World Radio Network. If you like TV Confidential or any of the other programs you hear every week on PWRN, please consider supporting this station by becoming a patron of Passionate World Radio Network through Patreon. It is easy to do. It won't cost you more than a few dollars per month. And best of all, you will help PWRN continue to educate, enlighten, and entertain our global audience of 10 million strong and growing. For more information, go to patreon.com/PWRN. That's Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/PWRN. And thank you again for listening.
Okay, this is Flashback, flash-silvermoon with you on the wonderful story of this mare and baby. At long last, the long-legged filly toddled over to her mother, who was waiting to suckle and lick the afterbirth from her unsteady body. Without knowing it, I had done what the experts call imprinting by standing with the foal until she could walk to her mother's side. The young horse was absolutely gorgeous, with long, silky eyelashes over her doe-like eyes. She looked to be a combination of a leopard Appaloosa and a ghost wind Appaloosa, with an abundance of black and brown spots dappling her white body. She had a very sweet and gentle disposition and would be a very special horse indeed. Meanwhile, this little excursion made us at least 2 hours late for Julie's appointment with Nancy, who was meeting us in her van outside of the Hitching Post restaurant. We tried calling her cell, but didn't reach her, so we just continued our journey to meet her, feeling both embarrassed by such tardiness, yet knowing that she would have to understand, being the animal person that she was. When you do animal rescue or any kind of animal services, something can always come up, and usually at the last minute. So you kind of have to learn to roll with it most days. When we finally arrived, she was, of course, a bit perturbed, but she did understand after we explained our amazing story. We decided to go inside and have some dinner, as it was now even beyond 5 p.m., and we were all starving. Nancy and I sat down to read the simple country menu, while Julie sought the meager cleansing comforts of the ladies' room while we perused the country menu. Fried chicken or chicken and dumplings? What would it be? What would be best or quickest? Moments later, the two waitresses cautiously approached our table. "Is your friend all right?" one whispered, with a thick southern drawl. "Yeah, she's fine," I casually responded. "She just went to the restroom." I was so hungry, stuffing my mouth with a hot biscuit dripping in butter, and so wrapped up in our recent adventure that it never even occurred to me that we might look a little bit odd in our blood-stained clothing. "Well, honey," the other waitress confided, "you two came in here off the road all covered in blood and all, and, well, we figured that if you had just killed your husbands, we'd give you our addresses and you could go kill ours too." This is the gospel truth, people. And we had all that we could do to not fall off our chairs in peals of hysterical laughter. I laughed to myself for the first 15 minutes going down Highway 301 after our dinner. It had been a very, very long and crazy, crazy day. I rode back home with a wide grin plastered across my face, feeling both deeply satisfied and amused. I just remember that drive. I just kept giggling. I turned on the radio and just giggled my way home, that whole hour drive, and I just couldn't get over those two waitresses wanting me to go kill their husbands because we had blood on us. But that's what happened. Now, an update from the vet the next day was great news. He said that it was one of the cleanest, best births he'd even seen from the point of view of the inside of the mare, and that all was well. So that, my friends, was one of the strangest experiences that I've ever had. And I didn't know nothing about birthing no baby like that. That was for sure. But, you know, it just brings the whole point back that I'm always talking about. You listen to your intuition. I knew something had to be done. My friend knew something had to be done. We were all there was, us and the other mares. And what we had to do was jump in and feel our way through it. And that's what we did. And all of us have experiences like that in life. Not necessarily that extreme, but we have these times, these moments when it's not all written down on a book. It's not something that we've learned in any way, and yet we have to find a solution. And that wonderful gut instinct, that intuition, that psychic response, listening to the ancestors, whatever it is, wherever it's coming from, letting that in is just the safest, the best, the most empowering thing that we can do. I can't say that enough, because that was how we managed to get through the whole situation. Very sad update was that little beauty wound up losing her life, along with a whole bunch of other horses from that particular farm. And that brings me to an important point about rescue and horse rescue. Supporting horses is not an easy matter for anyone. And sometimes people bite off way more than they can chew. And it's so important if you're a neighbor of someone who has horses and you start to see they're losing weight or they seem to be undercared for. They seem to just not be having anyone available, and you're watching this go on for days or weeks or whatever, then it's time to start calling the authorities. And I'm not saying everybody go run around and be a tattletale. I'm just saying sometimes horses and their people have problems. And, you want to go to the people first, and you want to really find out the truth of the matter and not just put the feds on someone who's trying very hard. You want to find a way to help the situation, not to make a bad problem worse. But sometimes, if I had only known what I only found out years later, that particular farm fell into disrepair in some way, that there was no longer people taking care of the animals, I would have found a way somehow to do something. And so, we are our sisters' keepers. We are the animals' keepers. We have to keep awake on so many levels anymore because, as we've all seen day after day, that there's a lot going on in the world that we don't necessarily enjoy. And so it's very important to find our way to stay woke, to stay aware, and to stay connected with the people and the animals that need our help from time to time, because that's just the way it is. And, we can only do the best we can, but sometimes we can do a whole lot better than we think we can. And that was certainly the case. I didn't think I could do anything for that horse, and yet we did. And there's always ways that we can make things work better. There just always is. And loving animals the way I do, it's always something that I want to be a part of. And, last week we had the wonderful Laura Lee on, and she'll be on probably next week talking about the new regime going on out west to save the wild horses and the really difficult and nastiness that is going on around those beautiful horses. So let me take a quick break, and I'll be right back with you. Flash-Silvermoon signing out for the moment.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Robertson, host of TV Confidential. Thank you so much for listening to our program on PWRN, Passionate World Radio Network. If you like TV Confidential or any of the other programs you hear every week on PWRN, please consider supporting this station by becoming a patron of Passionate World Radio Network through Patreon. It is easy to do. It won't cost you more than a few dollars per month. And best of all, you will help PWRN continue to educate, enlighten, and entertain our global audience of 10 million strong and growing. For more information, go to patreon.com/PWRN. That's Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/PWRN. And thank you again for listening.
Okay, folks, welcome back. This is Flash Silvermoon speaking to you for What the Animals Tell Me. And I hope you enjoyed and also got a little kick out of my story, but I don't know nothing about birthing no baby, and apparently I did know something about birthing that baby. And if you want to reach me, You can always find me at flash-silvermoon.com. You can find me on my email, which is flashsilvermoon@gmail.com. And good old Facebook, gotta love them. They thought that I've been using the name Flash Silvermoon since, 1970, 1971. And they didn't think that my name was real enough, so they insisted on my using my birth name, which is Deborah Kotler. That was not what I wanted. They took away my page, and so now you can also find me at Friends Who Like Flash Silvermoon, which to me is kind of silly because if you're my friend, I would think you'd like me. Anyway, that's ways to find me, and know that I can work on your animals or for you. I work as an animal communicator and vibrational healer, and it doesn't matter if your animals are very far away. We can make an arrangement. You send me pictures. I can work that way and help talk with your animals and help you help them. Likewise, I can also work with you as an astrologer or a psychic, and I do lots of different things. So I am absolutely ready and willing to take on what work you might have for me. And if you go to my website again, flashsilvermoon.com, you'll get a good look at what some of those things might be. And I can't say enough how important it is for you to use your own intuition. It's the best thing you've got. And when I say that, I really mean if there's that little voice coming through to you, might be little, might be kind of loud. Sometimes that little voice gets very loud because it's had to break through years of resistance. But whatever volume your inner voice speaks, it's so much better when you listen to it. It says, hey, why don't you call so-and-so? Or maybe so-and-so needs help. You know, when you start getting that vibe, follow it through. It will always bring you to a better outcome. You'll always appreciate your work when you do what your intuition tells you. Because it's never just junk. It's never just a whimsical thought. It's something for you to help you move through life in a one way or another better than you are doing. So I can't say it enough how important it is to listen to your inner voice and let that really take you where you need to be. And if you've been listening to this and thinking, wonder what I should be doing with myself, I really need to make some changes. If that's coming to you, there's a reason. And probably the things that you are really thinking about would be a great thing to follow through with. Or you might call me for a reading. Whatever. Many blessings, everyone, and I'll see you next week, same time, same planet.
Thank you for listening to Passionate World Radio Network, a multimedia company. You can listen to this program all over again at passionateworldradionetwork.com, facebook.com/PWRN, twitter.com/PWRN, googleplus.com/PWRN. Distinguish yourself from the ordinary. And remember, please keep listening.